Watlo, Reitnuk Marnie Atkins, Yil Sul, Yil Sulatlak, Yil Wiyot, Jaru Gigi Dadadalis. My name is Marnie Atkins. I'm a Sul person. I'm a Sulatlak speaker and learner. And I'm Wiyot. And I'm from Jaru Gigi, which is now known as Eureka, California. But in our language, it means a place to sit and rest. And if you can imagine our ancestors paddling in their canoes from, up by Gutditni, Arcata, or down by Beatmud, which is now known as the South Jetty, you might imagine how tired they would get. And so they'd pull into this area, Jorojiji, to sit and rest and to look at the island, Dolawat. I'm here today to show you a little bit about how we would traditionally use a mortar and pestle to break our acorns and grind them. And you might remember what Kate said earlier was to watch out for acorns with these holes in them, because that might mean that there's a worm in it. So we're going to set that one aside. But remember too, something like this might just be a little pock mark. So that should be okay for us to use. So in our language, we call this moot or voot. The M sound and the V sound are interchangeable. They're both correct. So moot or voot. And this is a stone mortar. And in Sulatlak, our language, we say Vateshra wash. Vateshra wash. And this is a pestle. And this is Hashra wash. Hashra wash. And you might notice that there is a sticker on it. And the reason why there's a sticker is because this means that we repatriated it. And that's a whole other topic for another day. But one of our pestles got to come home to us. So you can see that took a couple tries. You try not to smash it to oblivion, of course, but you try to pop it open, and this came open pretty well. So make sure you pull all the acorn meat out. Sorry, all the moot or voot. This little one too. There we go. And then we'll set it aside. And you can see that we have all of these here that have already been processed, have already been cracked. So now what I'm going to do, do you see that? There's a little bit of black still on there. That's that little paper casing that Kate was talking about earlier. It kind of got dried on there. So we might not want that if we can't pull it off with our fingernails easily. We might want to set it aside for now, and we can maybe process it later. So I'll set this aside for now. All right. So here's another voot, moot. All right, and we're taking our Vatseshra wash. You could tell I'm a learner. Oh, that was a good one. Look at, I did that in one time. Nice. Could you imagine though, our ancestors, how beefy their arms must have been? And their hands and their forearms, my goodness. Because this is not light. This is probably about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 pounds, and there are bigger ones, believe me. So imagine the upper body strength that our folks carried, and now I'm like, oh, the grocery bags are so heavy. So I guess it's all perspective, right? So there's another one. I'll do one more. And here we go again in the Vatseshra Rush. Vatseshra Rush. I'm a learner, so thank you. And then Hashra Wash. Hashra Wash. All right, here we go. Oh, that was another good one. Boy, I'm pretty good at this. So here we go. Look at that one, came away really nice. We'll just take away the paper. Kind of reminds me of a hazelnut or peanuts when you deshell them, right? Or hazelnuts, I really enjoy those. Our people ate lots of hazelnuts as well. We love hazelnuts, and every now and then you'll still find hazelnuts growing around here. Let's see, did I get everything out? Yep. Okay. So I'm just gonna brush out what's left in here to make sure that there's no shells, right? I mean, how it hurts when we chomp down on something, doesn't it? To a hard shell. So I just wanted to make sure that all the shells were out. All right, and now I'm going to put in some of our cracked moot. Actually, so before moot or boot, right? Gamak. Now that the shell is off, gamak. So I'm going to dump out some of the remaining shell and things like that in there, the skin, just to make sure we're not chomping on hard shells. Remember this moot, voot, but now that these are out of the shell, these are gamak. Okay. All right, here we go. You might remember that Kate taught us how to use a grinder, coffee grinder, spice grinder, but this is how we used to do it traditionally. There's definitely some more muscle strength here. But you can also see how quickly it gets smashed. Here we go. Ooh. So you can see that it's getting a little bit more floury, but there's still some bigger pieces in here. And remember, Kate said that we wanted it to be nice and powdery, like flour. You might not be able to see this, but I'm tilting the mortar, the stone mortar, towards me a little bit. And I'm kind of, with a downward slant with the pestle, trying to use the side and the bottom to grind. So I'm both hitting and smashing at the same time, if that makes sense. Let's look. Oh, that's looking pretty good. That might be just as bad as good as Kate's grinder. Look what we did. We did it. I just want to show you, though, that some of this flour is very fine, And in Sulatluk, we say that that's gagash vashi, gagash vashi, the fine part. But I can also feel there's still some chunks in here. And so that would be considered more of a coarse acorn flour. And we call that watgat. So I'm probably going to go ahead and pound on this a little bit more to get it more fine. So I'm going to pound acorns. Shira gamak, shira gamak, shira gamak. I pound acorns. Gamak ya ratara. I smell acorns. Gamak ya ratara. I smell acorns. So we'll show you a basket mortar or a beet. And we take that beet and we put it over a large flat stone and grind the gamak, which is the shelled acorns. Gamak. I haven't learned how to say this yet, but I'm going to try right now. Hapat rur iga ruwas. But basically what that means is it's when you put a rabbit skin and you wrap it around an acorn mortar to prevent it from spilling. So you kind of use it to hold on to it and stabilize it while you grind the acorns. So when we're eating our acorn soup, we usually eat it out of a nice basket. And that is called hala wiluwich. Hala wiluwich. Do you hear that at the end? That's where you put your tongue behind your teeth and blow out the sides like a hissing cat. So it's not a sound you often hear in English or at all, but it is in other languages. So hala wiluwich, that's an acorn soup basket. The storage baskets for acorns or gamak is called dilul. And the acorn cooking stones, you'll remember that Kate talked about, the acorn cooking stones. We call these acorn cooking stones in our language gamak watgal. Do you hear gamak again? Gamak watgal. Gamak watgal. Those are the cooking stones. Halawilach is what we call the acorn soup after it's cooked. Halawilach. Halawilach. And I think it's interesting to think about that there are so many ways to talk about the acorn. You know, this one little acorn has so many ways to talk about it, from where it grows on the tree, to talking about it when it's in the shell, to then talking about it when it's outside of its shell, to then talking about what you do when you grind it, the tools that you use around it to grind it, and then what it's called if it's a coarse kind of a flour or a fine kind of a flour. And then we also have words around the tools to cook it that are very specific, again, to acorn or what we used to eat with it. So if you think about it, having so many words for one simple little nut shows you how important it was, because we needed all of those ways to talk about this very important food item to Wiyot people, as well as other tribal people in our area. Our ancestral neighbors all around us used this as well. So it's an important sustenance food, and that's why we have so many words to talk about it.
along with the acorn, we also ate, salmon and berries and elk and deer and all kinds of sea food such as crabs and halibut and all of that. But also important, the acorn is important in ceremony. So this is what the dancers would consume, not only in preparation for ceremony time, but during ceremony as well. And they would consume this until it was time that they could break their fast. So when we practice our ceremony, when we would conduct our ceremonies, we try to always be as clean as possible, especially nowadays, right, with a lot of our food items that have additives and preservatives. So you go through a cleansing process, a fasting process, and you shouldn't do that on your own. You should definitely do that in consultation with a ceremonial leader who knows what they're doing so that you don't get sick or make yourself sick. And so you would, in preparation for ceremony time, you would only be able to consume this very light water, kind of acorn water, if you will. It's even thinner than the fine, coarse flour. And to both cleanse yourself and fast in preparation for ceremony, so that when you send up our prayers during ceremony, they'll be strong and clean and will be heard. So I just want to say thank you for watching this video and joining Kate and me in this journey of both traditional and contemporary ways of processing acorns. As you can see, it's not bad to use contemporary tools. You have to remember that anytime somebody new created something that was an easier, more accurate, or something that you'd be able to catch fish better or grind something better, everybody would adopt it and use it. So that's what a grinder is. That's a coffee or a spice grinder. But you're more than welcome to, of course, use more traditional methods, and you can really build up your arm strength. But I just want to say again, thank you for joining us, and we hope that you like this video. Jawaksh. See you later. Jawaksh.